Refugee crises. A Rohingya refugee child cries at the Kutupalong refugee camp in Cox's Bazar, Bangladesh. At Jones App. William Worley, Thomson Reuters Foundation. Share tweet email Reddit print. Share tweet email Reddit print. In the sweltering heat of Bangladesh's dusty Balakali refugee camp, 7-month-old Mahmood Rohan is burning up. I am worried about him, said his mother, 25-year-old Roshida Begum, in the waiting room of a malnutrition screening center. He got a fever last night but I couldn't reach help, she said. I was told to come here, along with an estimated 625,000 Rohingya Muslim refugees who have fled Myanmar for camps in Bangladesh since late August. Begum is struggling to feed herself and her baby. The exodus began when coordinated Rohingya insurgent attacks sparked a ferocious military response, with the fleeing people accusing security forces of arson, killings and rape. Top United Nations human rights officials said on Tuesday that Myanmar's security forces may be guilty of genocide against the Rohingya. Myanmar has rejected accusations of ethnic cleansing and has labeled Rohingya militants as terrorists. While now safe from the threat of violence, refugees in Bangladesh now face malnutrition on an alarming scale, say aid agencies. Health workers suspect tiny Mahmood, who wears an oversized red sports shirt, has severe acute malnutrition, the most serious form of malnourishment. All he has had to eat in the camp, where his family has been for 2 months, is a few spoonfuls a day of rice mixed with sugar, his mother says. At home in Mongda Township in Myanmar's Rakhine state, Begum, who is unable to breastfeed properly, fed Mahmood rice water. Now, as a health worker examines him, the circumference of his spindly upper arm indicates the severity of his condition. Around him, other mothers, some wearing black niqabs, sit on benches holding their babies in the small bamboo-owled center. Dressed in rags, 8-year-old Sadril Amin has brought his malnourished sister, 16-month-old Boila Amin, for a checkup. Their mother is sick and their father is at the market, the little boy said through a translator. Children gather with their siblings outside a malnutrition screening center in Balakali refugee camp, Cox's Bazar, southern Bangladesh, on November 20th. Credit Will Worley. Thomson Reuters Foundation. Nearly a quarter of all the Rohingya refugee children in the Bangladeshi camps aged between 6 months and 5 years are malnourished, an analysis conducted by the United Nations Children's Fund found. Worse, it found around 7.5% of all children, around 17,000 youngsters, are affected by severe acute malnutrition. Children make up around 40% of the refugee influx, and are particularly vulnerable to starvation's effects. Compared to healthy youngsters, severely malnourished under 5s are 9 times more likely to die from common infections. Besides the visible effects on the body, such as muscle wasting, the condition leads to low immunity, meaning children become much more susceptible to other illnesses. The result is a toxic mix of health problems that can be fatal. If a child is malnourished, they can easily suffer from diarrhea or pneumonia, and have to be referred to a hospital, said Charles Eric Hayter, a doctor with the International Organization for Migration, and a clinic adjacent to the screening center. On the perilous journey to Bangladesh, most refugees survived on 1 meal a day or less, according to the United Nations Children's Fund. Stories abound of desperate people eating vegetation and drinking from puddles and I had to drink water from a pool made by the monsoon rain, said Mohammed Hezizam, 25, from his newly built hut on the other side of Balakali camp. He said he did not eat for the final 8 days of his arduous trek to Bangladesh, which included nearly 3 weeks hiding in the hills, and fell sick. In the camps, food aid is being distributed by the Bangladeshi Army and World Food Programme. Families are given rice, lentils and oil every fortnight, but many children are still struggling to eat properly. Despite the dangers presented by malnutrition, many Rohingya mothers do not realize lack of nutritious food as the underlying health issue causing other illnesses in their children, said Hayter, at the camp's clinic. Often, parents will not realize the child is malnourished until they see a doctor for another reason. Many only know there is a problem when their baby's traditional bangles begin to slip from their skinny wrists. There is not much understanding of nutrition, said Hayter. We need to increase awareness around feeding. Education is the key. Meanwhile, baby Mahmood's condition is worrying the health workers, and he is referred to see Hayter. His mother carries the baby the short distance to the clinic over a bamboo bridge, and is ushered inside. The child has a 103 Fahrenheit 39.4 Celsius fever, Hayter said. It's very bad. He makes a diagnosis of pneumonia and prescribes antibiotics for Mahmood, with an instruction to return if there is no improvement. His mother simply nods and rocks Mahmood as he cries on her knee. She is also given Plumpy Nut, an emergency therapeutic food made from peanut paste, to feed her son. For him, the future is uncertain. With God's help he will get better, his mother said. This article first appeared on Thomson Reuters Foundation News. We welcome your comments at letters@scroll.in. Rohingya Myanmar Bangladesh refugee crisis. Malnourished children. Sponsored content by published November 22, 2017, 0352 p.m. Shutterstock. Share tweet email Reddit print. Share tweet email Reddit print. Two-wheelers are the lifeline of urban Asia, where they account for more than half of the vehicles owned in some countries. This trend is amply evident in India, where sales in the subcategory of mopeds alone rose 23% in 201,617. In fact, one survey estimates that today 1 in every 3 Indian households owns a two-wheeler. What explains the enduring popularity of two-wheelers? In one of the fastest-growing economies in the world, two-wheeler ownership is a practical aspiration in small towns and rural areas, and a tactic to deal with choked roads in the bigger cities. Two-wheelers have also allowed more women to commute independently with the advent of gearless scooters and mopeds. Together, these factors have led to phenomenal growth in overall two-wheeler sales, which rose by 27.5% in the past 5 years, according to the Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers (SIAM). Indeed, the ICE 2016360 survey says that two-wheelers are used by 37% of metropolitan commuters to reach work, and are owned by half the households in India's bigger cities and developed rural areas. Amid this exponential growth, experts have cautioned about two-wheelers' role in compounding the impact of pollution. Largely ignored in measures to control vehicular pollution, experts say two-wheelers too need to be brought in the ambit of pollution control, as they contribute across most factors determining vehicular pollution: engine technology, total number of vehicles, structure and age of vehicles, and fuel quality. In fact, in major Indian cities, 2/3 of pollution load is due to two-wheelers. They give out 30% of the particulate matter load, 10 percentage points more than the contribution from cars. Additionally, 75%–80% of the two-wheelers on the roads in some of the Asian cities have two-stroke engines, which are more polluting. The Bharat Stage BS emissions standards are set by the Indian government to regulate pollutants emitted by vehicles fitted with combustion engines. In April 2017, India's ban of BS3 certified vehicles in favor of the higher BS-IV emission standards came into effect. By April 2020, India aims to leapfrog to the BS-V standards, being a signatory to Conference of Parties Protocol on Combating Climate Change. Over and above the BS-V norms target, the Energy Department has shown a clear commitment to move to an electric-only future for automobiles by 2030, with the announcement of the FAME scheme, faster adoption and manufacturing of hybrid and electric vehicles in India. The struggles of on-ground execution, though, remain Herculean for automakers who are scrambling to upgrade engine technology in time to meet the deadlines for the next BS norms update. As compliance with BS-V would require changes in the engine system itself, it is being seen as one of the most mammoth road projects undertaken by the Indian automotive industry in recent times. Relative to BS-IV, BS-V norms mandate a reduction of particulate matter by 82% and of oxides of nitrogen NOx by 68%. Emission control in fuel-based two-wheelers can be tackled on several fronts. Amongst post-emission solutions, catalytic converters are highly effective. Catalytic converters transform exhaust emissions into less harmful compounds. They can be especially effective in removing hydrocarbons, nitrous oxides and carbon monoxide from the exhaust. At the engine level itself, engine oil additives are helpful in reducing emissions. Anti-wear additives, friction modifiers, high-performance fuel additives and more lead to better performance, improved combustion and a longer engine life. The improvement in the engine's efficiency as a result directly correlates to lesser emissions over time. Fuel economy of a vehicle is yet another factor that helps determine emissions. It can be optimized by lightweighting, which lessens fuel consumption itself. Lightweighting a vehicle by 10 pounds can result in a 10–15 pound reduction of carbon dioxide emissions each year. Polymer systems that can bear a lot of stress have emerged as reliable replacements for metals in automotive construction. BASF, the pioneer of the first catalytic converter for automobiles, has been at the forefront of developing technology to help automakers comply with advancing emission norms while retaining vehicle performance and cost efficiency. Its new state-of-the-art manufacturing facility at Mahindra World City near Chennai is equipped to develop a range of catalysts for diverse requirements, from high-performance and recreational bikes to economy-oriented basic transportation. BASF also leverages its additives expertise to provide compounded lubricant solutions, such as antioxidants, anti-wear additives and corrosion inhibitors and more. At the manufacturing level, BASF's road and engineered material systems has led to the development of innovative materials that are much lighter than metals, yet just as durable and strong. These can be used to manufacture mirror brackets, intake pipes, step holders, clutch covers, etc. With innovative solutions on all fronts of automobile production, BASF has been successfully collaborating with various companies in making their vehicles emission compliant in the most cost-effective way. You can read more about BASF's innovations in two-wheeler emission control here, lubricant solutions here and lightweighting solutions here. This article was provided by the Scroll marketing team on behalf of BASF and not by the Scroll editorial team.